Hello, my friend, and welcome back, or welcome to Something for Everybody. My name is Aaron Machbitz, and this is a solo episode of the podcast. Here's a question I've been thinking about a lot. Why are Jews so hated? This is my answer to that question. But first, a little history. Back in the late 1800s, German race theorist Wilhelm Marr coined the term anti-Semitism. Marr believed that Jews were diluting pure German culture and made up the term as a way of stressing the Jews' racial inferiority. Though other people have claims to be Semites, the term anti-Semitism refers solely to the Jews. The term stuck, and today anti-Semitism is used universally to describe hatred and bigotry against the Jews. But like most terms, it can be overused and become a bit watered down. Because of that, the term can lose some of its intensity, let's say. Just like if you call everyone a Nazi or a racist, then it doesn't really have much meaning anymore. So using anti-Semitism should be reserved for those who truly earn it through their actions and words. Anyways, throughout human history, we find that groups hate other groups. That just seems to be a part of human nature. However, we can't overcome this human instinct. But as we know, hatred and war have been a consistent part of the human experience. Originally, Jews must have been hated as every other group was hated. But Jews persevered. So did the hatred against us. And we endured because our moral message was superior to that of other groups. And that built tremendous irritation and jealousy among non-Jews. Instead of honoring Jews for giving the world so much moral clarity, we were often despised. The first persecutions against the Jewish people were religious. We were killers of Christ and black magic worshippers who did not follow or believe in Jesus. We can see that hatred was felt by local populations, but it was the leaders of the different societies which stirred up that hate, and their reasons for doing so could be mixed. In the 19th century, religious persecution gave way to racial persecution. The Jews were seen as parasites. This change in attitude came from a volatile brew of social Darwinism and rising European nationalism. The Jews were seen to be outsiders who not only didn't belong, but needed to be removed as a threat to society. This is the sort of emotion Hitler experienced when living in old imperial Vienna before 1914. More sinister in both cases, religious and racial persecution are a facade for the real reason that Jews were seen as threatening, namely the fear and threat from an outside group who through history had position of power that created jealousy which turned to violence in troubled times. We can't help it. Just by being ourselves, we hold up a mirror to the world, and the world doesn't like the reflection it sees. So the murderers must whitewash themselves by calling the Jews murderers. The thieves call the Jews thieves. The poor call the Jews rich. The rich call the Jews poor. In many societies, yes, Jews have historically been involved in trade and finance and other industries that lead to perceptions of economic success. This success often triggered resentment and jealousy, leading to the stereotype of Jews as greedy or manipulative. However, Jews living in Russia's Pale of Settlement were poor and weak, but they were still hated. The Jews of 19th century Germany renounced their status as chosen people, but they were still hated. Even when the Jews assimilated and did their best to shed their Jewish identity, you guessed it, yes, they were still hated. So no matter where you look in history, anti-Semitism is always there. And with the explanations always changing and evolving, it's hard not to think they're really just excuses. Because Jewish excellence also can lead to potential anti-Semitism, or even Jews being falsely accused of being part of, grand conspiracies to control the world's wealth or political systems. One example of this is the notorious Protocols of the Elders of Zion, a fabricated document that spread the myth of a Jewish plot to dominate the world. These kinds of conspiracy theories have been used to justify discrimination and violence. Judaism has been remarkably accurate on many aspects and the systems that have borrowed heavily from it, such as monotheism, science, democracy, equality. According to the Jewish tradition, Jew hatred started with Mount Sinai, which marks the birth of the Jewish people. You see, at Mount Sinai, the Jewish people received the Ten Commandments and embraced the tenets of ethical monotheism. Concepts like the dignity of the individual, the brotherhood of man, equality, and justice, and many other ideals that nowadays most people hold to be self-evident. Anti-Semitism is a rejection of those values, or as Hitler stated explicitly, conscience is a Jewish invention, is a blemish like circumcision. Anti-Semitism is attacking the messenger who brought the values and morals of the Ten Commandments into the world. Yet those same values are also the solution to anti-Semitism or Jew hatred. Jewish ideas still need to be embraced and taught. That's also the unique mission of the Jewish people, to know those values and to teach them. So in a surprising way, Judaism teaches that anti-Semitism is a reminder to the Jews of what they stand for, morality and conscience. The answer to anti-Semitism is to embrace and live with these values as best we can. Because Judaism, as a profound source of wisdom and justice, is very far from an empty concept. The Torah, even in the most imperfect translation, holds immense power. It's not just a collection of words, it's a guide. And the Talmud, with its vast 63 volumes written in concise sort of telegram-style language, serves as the detailed notes to that guide. And no library in the world could contain all the books that explore and explain the Talmud. Unlike the Christian faith in its early days, where the Word of God was given to people by their priests, who were often the only group of people who could read, all Jewish males were required to be literate in order to read the Torah and debate its contents. Two factors are important here. One, the ability to read, which in the Dark Ages and Middle Ages was rare. Second, not to accept blindly what was read, but to interpret and debate. This meant that the Jewish people were a literate society which encouraged the art of debate and the search for knowledge. Jews are here to teach, not because we're a better people, but because we have some good stuff to pass on. Jew hatred will stop when the world becomes so elevated that it would rather profit from the Jews rather than kill us. Also, one note, Judaism doesn't encourage conversion to Judaism. That means Jews must marry in order to not disappear. That, or this fact also irritates people as well. And we should not confuse the moral success of Judaism with the disproportional societal success of a small percentage of Jews. That's just a reaction to the genocidal threat, right? An attempt to survive by overworking. In the current day, which as I'm recording this is April 1st, 2025, and I only say that because we can look back at this episode in 1, 5, or 10 years and see where we're at and see how Jew hatred is manifesting at that time. But in the current day, Jew hatred is manifesting itself under the guise of asking questions. At the same time, these people will say, no, it's not the Jews, it's the Israeli government that we're critical of. While at the exact same time, these self-proclaimed noticers throw the term Jew at people like it's an insult. Because in reality, the noticer types hate Jews and are hiding it behind the Israeli government. With all that said, to stay in top shape for our role as humanities teachers, we must keep up our honesty and humility and honor and respect of all people and cultures as the Jewish tradition teaches us to. Being outstanding is fortunately or unfortunately not just inherited, but it requires keeping up. Thank you for your time and attention. I would absolutely love to know what you think, and if you found this valuable at all, the best thing you can do is share it with everyone that you know. Again, thank you for your time and attention, and I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Cheers. Thank you very much for tuning into that episode. And if you enjoyed it, click right here for another full-length episode of the podcast. And please don't forget to subscribe. But most importantly, above all else, please please take good care of yourselves and others. And I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Cheers.